Hey everybody, so today I'm going to talk about Pandas, which is a package that I've been writing in Python that helps us easily pull data from Google Spreadsheets into Pandas DataFrames and vice versa. So first of all, I just want to give a shout out to the gspread package, which helps us interact with the API. So I leverage a lot of what they've already built, and I just add a lot of extra functionality for um, specifically dealing with pandas and indexes and stuff like that. So here in the repo is a set of key goals and features, things that I think differentiate my package from the original gspread package. So I add a lot of nice functionality that makes it easier to work with spreadsheets, especially interactively. So we're going to go ahead and get set up. In my repo, you can actually click here to go to the documentation. It also tells you how to set it up here. But we're just going to go here. So you can see we need to go to the Google console, which when you go there, it takes you to this API thing. And so you're going to want to create an application here in credentials. And you're going to go create credentials, go to OAuth, and that will create your application. So I've already actually have one, so I'm not going to go through that. But then you're going to want to download your Google secret, and then we're actually going to want to move this into this directory. And I forgot, I first need to create that. Now we can move that in there. So now our local instance of gspread pandas can talk to the Google API. Another thing you want to do is go in here in library and enabled the drive API, and then which if you click, it'll take you here to the dashboard and you can enable it. So mine's already enabled. You want the Google, that one, and then you want the Sheets API. And so the Drive API allows you to create spreadsheets. The Sheets API allows you to use some of the newer functionality from the latest version of Google Sheets API, so things like frozen rows and merge cells and that kind of stuff, which is very useful and not available in gspread pandas or in the original gspread. So now that we've set up, I'm gonna go ahead and close out. So I mean, you could always reference the documentation for help. So I've got this notebook prepared for some interactive work that we're gonna do. So the first thing we're gonna do, import the spread class. And so we're going to first create a, actually let's do this real quick. So one cool thing in Jupyter is you can actually, interactively get help about functions and stuff. So here you can see, what parameters are available, that kind of stuff. So very, very useful for navigating and understanding how to use this. So first thing we're going to do is open up a spreadsheet called test, which is this one right here. And so here, this first argument is a key which will store the credentials. It doesn't really matter what you name it as long as you're consistent with, that's the key that's going to store certain credentials, right? So in this case, we're going to click here, and so we have to authenticate it. And so since I'm calling this one work, I'm going to select my Red Hat email address for that one. I'm going to say allow, and then that's going to give us this code, which we then can put this here. So you only have to do this the first time that you select a key. Once you've done that, this will work. Next time it reads it, it will just automatically read those credentials, and you don't have to mess with it again. So it's great for scripting. You only have to do this once. Just to show you, I'll rerun this, and then you see the second time it didn't prompt me for that. And this will work in a interactive console, in a web browser, pretty much in any Python environment that allows you to provide some sort of input in. So now we've opened up our spreadsheet. Here's some information. It shows us that we're logged in, that this spreadsheet is opened as this user, and we have this spreadsheet open. So we're going to look at the worksheets. So we see that there's one worksheet, right, financials, which we can see here. We've got some, optional, or we have some interesting things that we can, or properties that we have on this class that are helpful for one reason or another, right? So if you wanted to share the URL, that's available here. Now we're going to actually open the first sheet, so you can actually pass it in the index, right, based on this array. So the first element, array index 0, or you could actually pass it in the name of the sheet, and it would open it up as well. So now we're going to actually read in this sheet into a Pandas DataFrame, and as you can see, we've got some fancy headers, right? So we've got some merged cells here, and we actually have a double level. So we're going to say that we have 2 rows of headers, and then one thing that I haven't built in yet is auto detection of types. So here everything is an int, so we're going to just say that everything is an int. You may want to specify at a later date, or you may want to go through and parse each column separately. I'm going to think about how to best do that automatically, but that's something that's not there yet. Now we can read it in, and so we can see the data frame, right? So it correctly read. All right, so we've got these 2 levels, right? So in this FY16 has these nested levels, FY17, and so we see that it read it correctly. We can also look at the index. So we can see the index in this case is our accounts. And we can then do things like, all right, let's say we wanted to take the mean for each of these columns, and then we want to see what those means are, by bookings and revenue for each of the fiscal years, right? So we can do this, which you want to see what that looks like, right? So now we have that, right? And so we want to store this into a new worksheet. So if you give it a sheet and that sheet does not already exist, then it's going to go ahead and create it. And then this replace equals true would clear out all existing values before it actually dumps the values in. So now we can see it created this worksheet. We can go here, and so we actually told it to start in this A3 cell, right? Because we wanted to add in this manual notice here at the top that this was auto-generated. So here I'm showing you can actually use either this A3, the regular spreadsheet format, but you can also use a tuple, right, with your X and Y, or the row number and the column number. So those are 2 different ways that we can do that, and we can see there's also this email property associated with the class, right? So now let's say that for some reason we had another user that was in charge of doing this other calculation, right? And we wanted to keep track that it was them that did it, right? So now we can then log in, right, creating with using a different key, right? So we need to authenticate this one, and this time I'm going to authenticate it with my personal email address. And so this enables us to kind of choose which user we use for certain activities, right? And that may be important for different purposes. So here we're really just doing this to demonstrate. So all we did was open up the same sheet, and then we create, similarly how we did up here, we create a new sheet, and this time it's just the max instead of the mean. And so we can see that now this activity was done by this user, right? And we can actually see in the changes, right? So the first change was made by, well, it only shows the names, it doesn't actually, but you can see the fact that it's a different color, right? That means it's a different user. And so, good for tracking history, who made changes, all that kind of stuff. So now we're going to do a little bit, more interesting example. So let's say we wanted to find the difference between, the fiscal years, right? So we can create a new data frame, right? Taking the difference of these. And then we're going to store it into this new sheet. And we're actually we want to freeze the column headers, right? And actually I just found a bug. Interesting. So it actually set the column headers for the old sheet that we had open and not the new one that it created. So I will fix that after we do this, but alright, yep, well that didn't work. But you can see that it did actually freeze the headers here, so cool thing finding a bug during a demo. But anyway, so this is just a short demo of what this library can do. In behind the scenes, there's quite a few things that are very helpful that it's doing. For example, as I've mentioned, it manages merged cells. It can manage frozen rows, frozen columns. It can also do, nested or multiple headers, right? So multiple rows as headers. GSpread actually has some issues where the Google API won't handle changes of certain sizes, right? So this will, if you have a spreadsheet or either a spreadsheet that is too big that you're trying to pull into Pandas DataFrame or vice versa, it will chunk the requests so that it doesn't time out or doesn't break. A lot of the activities or a lot of the function calls that are likely to time out or have some sort of error have automatic retries. So this makes it very useful for once you've generated some report, it's very easy to have the output of that report dumped into a Google spreadsheet to be shared out with others. Another cool thing is whenever you, let's say you set some formatting, right? You can set that formatting on the column itself, and then when you dump results in there, it will automatically apply that formatting to any new rows that may come from your report. So quite useful. There's definitely things that could be improved, and so I welcome all feedback. And here's again the GitHub. So feel free to start the project, watch it, follow it, create issues. I've got a request here from Randy in the finance team. He would like the ability to show all the spreadsheets in a specific Google Drive directory, so that's something that I'm planning on looking at. But yeah, so feel free to use this, give any feedback, and this is indeed open source, so feel free to dig into the code and make any changes and talk to me about it, send a pull request. So I hope this has been interesting, and I hope you find this useful. So please give me any feedback. Thanks. Bye.